Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you know that's me. I'm in the paddock F1. Reedy and the Cheese. Round 10 of the 2025 F1 season takes us to the Great White North. Back to Montreal for the 54th time. It's Katie and Grand Prix. And while you're there in Montreal, I want to check out some of Old Town. Looks like you're in Paris. When you're in North America, check out the two towers at Notre Dame Basilica. And of course, you got to find yourself some poutine. French fries, gravy, cheese curd. Yes. You like poutine, don't you, Michael? Or as they call it here in the
I've
States,
never had it in Montreal. You've had it in Montreal.
I have had it in Montreal, yes.
I have not.
It's pretty damn good, especially when you're smashed face, let me tell you.
It's the only way to be in Montreal, baby.
And of course, you got to hit up Casino de Montreal and hit those tables. This is a no travel show. This is an F1 show where we're racing on the Isle of Notre Dame. The Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. 2.71 miles, 14 corners, 3 DRS zones. You give it the full beans for 72% of your lap. It was an ordinary race for much of it, let's be honest. Little tire management, hot day in Montreal. But we got some late excitement when the McLarens decided to play bumper cars. And Norris ends his day. But George Russell, who had pole, and he also took fastest lap to get the trifecta with the win. Max takes second. Antonelli gets third. Who is that? The third youngest person to ever get a podium in Formula One as well. How about that? His first of his career. We are caffeinated. We are medicated. Greedy. Good day, sir.
Good day, Kimmy. How about that? George Russell, how about that? Mercedes, how about that? And it's like every team outside, of Mercedes, who had just had a fantastic weekend all around, showed up as far as the top four teams. You had at least Max Verstappen showing up as he does every single race, and you had McLaren showing up in certain ways, obviously having that issue at the end there with Lando Norris, and you had Ferrari in some ways showing up, although showing up a little pissed off, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I am sure you got a little bit about that going on, so we'll get to that soon. But it was a day for George Russell. His fourth career win, just a dominant weekend. You really thought that Max Verstappen had a shot at it in Montreal, as he has been the only driver to win this decade in Montreal until now, until George Russell wins. Lewis Hamilton, 2019, was the last driver that wasn't named Max Verstappen to win. So that was quite the big Mercedes sandwich with a Max Verstappen in the middle there. So congratulations again to George Russell, and just a dominant performance. He was gone, and tire management on the hot day, unexpected. We had some rain last year, and now it was a dry, really hot day, especially on the track. And tire management was the name of the game. You had, just different teams starting on different tires, just all kinds of different management. Couple DNFs, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. But what'd you think of George Russell, Mercedes? Oh, and Kimi Antonelli, as you mentioned before, the third youngest driver to podium.
Get a podium. Yep.
What do you think of this Mercedes comeback here? It feels like they're pulling themselves up in their bootstraps.
Well, they kind of needed a bounce back after that triple header, which was an absolute disaster for them. So they definitely needed this bounce back. Bounce back huge, very slightly even unexpected, even before the race. They were worried about the hot temperatures and their car struggling, because they usually struggle when it's hot. So George Russell, just dominant performance, got a great start, huge jump off the line compared to Max, and pretty much led it from there on out, basically. Just absolutely managed the race completely. Man doesn't have a job for next year, so how about that? So probably his stock just went up a little bit with that performance as well. As you mentioned, Antonelli, give it up for Kimi. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. And Max closes in on Oscar in the championship. So,
what are we at the standings now? I don't know if this is current. We're coming to you pretty much. The race ended about 25, 30 minutes ago here, Eastern time. One of the few races, one of two races we have at our own time zone here in the New York City, Philadelphia area. So if the updated standings on the Formula One website are correct,
I don't believe that is correct.
I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah,
probably not. He's usually not up for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely catching up. And with Oscar Piastri finishing fourth, good thing he wasn't the crash out for him. And Lando Norris was. We'll get to a lot of that later. But yeah, just an interesting, just day all around, unexpected. McLaren was never expecting to do great on this track. It really just was one of these tracks that's not catered to them. I also feel that this race, amongst others we've seen recently, and we're going to get to the Canadian Grand Prix and the Monaco Grand Prix situation a little bit later on in the show, but feels like races like that the track is just not big enough and wide enough. Not big, but wide is the word I'm looking for these cars anymore. It just feels like some of these tracks that were built 30, 40 years ago now are just not, there's not enough passing area and in certain spots, and we want to see a lot more passing, and this race is just another race where it just limits the amount of passing based on the width and shape of parts of the track. And I don't know your thoughts on that, but those are my thoughts.
I think personally, I'm not a giant fan of Circuit de Villeneuve. I think it's kind of outdated, but there's not much you can really do. Because if you look at the track, especially like if you were watching, the race and they give you like the aerial picture of the track as they come in, like the track is like on the edge of the island. So it's not like you can make a lot of changes or do a lot of things there because you're already pretty much on the limit of the island that you have. I think Canada might have to think about getting a new layout. I think that might be something that might be a thought of to change it up because Circuit de Villeneuve's gotten a little stale in my opinion.
It's been stale for a while. The only exciting things that have happened over the last 15 years.
It's not like
you had a couple of exciting events, but
yeah, and it doesn't have the nostalgia that Monaco has. Like Monaco, you can deal with because it's Monaco. I mean, I think there's changes that they've threw out about changing some of the layout a little bit, which are very interesting. But Monaco's Monaco, so you can deal with some of that, but Canada's gotten a little bit on the dry side, and I think changes can be made. Maybe a different track to go to, different layout somewhere, something. Got to do something. It's boring. Or switch this and bring Imola back. As we'll get to later too.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit as well. Some exciting news, I guess, for some disappointing news for others, as the 2026 F1 calendar has been announced. How exciting is that? We'll get to that in a little bit. Anything else on the race in general and a little Mercedes comeback before we get into the nitty-gritty of the race in your top stories, sir?
Well, Mercedes needed this weekend massively. Needed to bounce back for sure. McLaren just losing points. Well, drivers really losing points. The constructors is still pretty much, that's going to need something really bad to happen for people to start catching up there. I mean, Piastri, you could see that early in the race there, he wasn't, especially when he let like Antonelli by like right off the bat there. He wasn't going to do anything to risk the championship. He's driving for a championship. So he managed it, got fourth place, got some points, got the heck out of Dodge with, survival. That's the name of the game. And that's showing maturity as well. If you're not going to be able to, I mean, he was trying to get by Antonelli there at the end. He just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it.
Just couldn't get it done. And I don't know. Yeah, again, maybe maybe track differential and things like that if things change. But yeah, as you mentioned before, you're on an island, sir, and not much you can do there. But let us continue as I strap on my helmet, because I am ready to get around this track that you loathe so much, sir. It's Quizmaster's Cockpit. 3 sectors, it's 3 purple sectors, or it's out the door you go. Someone was at a work yesterday, was leaving a little bit early. And I said, "Where are you going there, buddy?" And he said, "The clock on the wall says 3 o'clock." It said 2:50, but I said you can go, just because you dropped a little George Thorogood on me. I thought you would like that. But true story,
That is,
sir.
you gotta let him go on that. If they bust out,
You gotta let him go early on that one.
You gotta let him go on that.
It ain't easy, man. It ain't easy being the boss sometimes, but you gotta let him go on that one. And welcome to all of my internationals who all made it here. 41 internationals coming in from all over the world, and every single one of them made it in this weekend into the airports with little to no problems. So the U.S. is still open for business for our international travelers. So just letting everyone know. And listen, speaking to a group of people who are from Australia, Ireland, and the UK, countries that I love and I do work with all year long, the accents blend in ways where I can't tell them apart when they're together. Although I can tell you guys apart when it's separate. I don't know. So I apologize if I misidentified my friend from Australia as one of my friends from the UK. It's been a long weekend. But welcome everyone who came in here, and let's get around the track, your Quizmaster's Cockpit.
We're ready, sir. I got 3 for you.
All right, let's go.
Question number 1. When was the first F1 Grand Prix held at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve? Back then, it was actually Circuit Isle Notre Dame. Back then, but
well, yes, that
what
was
year?
It's like late 60s, early 70s. I don't want to guess, though. Or maybe late 70... No. 78?
That is correct. You pulled that one out of your derriere.
I was trying to think when the other tracks were open. The Ontario track and the other tracks were last. I think it was, 77. So that would be 78 with the first year of Montreal. Went in the tank there for a moment, but thank you. Just making purple by 0.001. Let's go.
Question number 2, sir. What is the nickname for the wall on the exit of the final chicane?
It's the World
At the
Champions.
circuit of... That is correct.
Gotta pass that 70 times. Gotta pass that bad boy 70 times. Not everyone did it today. Only 17 drivers had the honor.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 for 2. Where's that suspense?
Hold on.
There it is.
There's your quality production.
Question number 3, sir. Robert Kubica won at Le Mans today in a Ferrari.
24 hours,
But
baby.
when he was in Formula One, his only victory came in the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix. With this team, name the team Robert drove for.
Who did he drive for? Oh, gosh. It's like '08, right, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I legit... I'm drawing a blank, dude. I'm just trying to eliminate teams right now in my head. Like, it wouldn't be McLaren or Williams or Ferrari. I think it's Sauber.
That's half. That's half of it.
The BMW Sauber team?
That is correct. That is 3 for 3. That is a hot lap.
Oh, wow. I haven't said BMW Sauber in a minute, dude. I haven't said that team in a minute. Wow. I was trying to eliminate teams. I knew he didn't drive for, like, like the big names. Who else was there? That was a tough one. They didn't win too many races. They didn't podium too many races there either.
They had a little period there when they were, pretty decent, especially when they had when they were BMW.
Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised.
Wow.
I got some of those.
How about it? Well, as the creed way back in the day on this program, how you perform in the cockpit is what we go. So that takes us to winners, which I did not have winners first. I had losers first. I didn't think you were making it. So let's go right into winners. Charles Leclerc, top 5. I mean, the man was pissed as hell. He was trying to call the strategy to maybe push it to like a one stop or something, but still got a top 5 finish. Salvaged the bit for Ferrari. It was pretty much a. I know they had a 5th, 6th, but still, it was still a bad day. Especially Lewis, had damage to the under tray or something like that. Maybe from a curb or something. I don't know, but he had all kinds of downforce issues. So, but a top 5 for the team. Just keep throwing on some points. Nico Hulkenberg again, 8th in the points again. In the Sauber. How about that? When was the last time you could say Sauber back-to-back races in the points? I mean, that is huge. That team's made a massive turnaround from the last, even from the end of last year to right now. Like, that's to have 2 races in a row in the points this early in the season. But I know it is round 10 already. How about that? But still, that is
Bortoletto
huge.
hasn't been terrible. No.
Absolutely not. The car is definitely far improved compared to what it has been in the last number of years when it was just absolute trash. So, the money definitely that's coming from Audi getting that under the team and better personnel to lead it. So you could definitely see that things are moving in the right direction, which is what you want to say. Those would be my winners. So that'll be 2. So there's plenty of them now you could go with today.
Yeah, there's a bunch of winners out there. Listen, in the spirit of the 24-hour Le Mans, I got to go with Fernando Alonso here as the winner, former winner of Le Mans as well, coming in 7th today and starting to turn around. He's like a one-man show for this Aston Martin team, and how embarrassing it is for Lance Stroll, who I'm sure we'll get to him in a minute. What a joke. But, Fernando Alonso, he's holding down this whole Aston Martin team as a 42-year-old guy who should be retired and probably working in the booth somewhere, or working with a team somewhere, working in a front office somewhere, and he's still on the track. And he's beating the crap out of his teammate. And now we were talking about Aston Martin not having it. And Fernando Alonso is just showing up after having a really, really tough first 6-7 races. Now starting to show up. So got to give it up to him. And of course, I don't care if he came in 11th. They would have scored points. Esteban Ocon, 9th, 2 more points for Haas. Even Ollie Bearman, they're qualifying well. They both got out of Q1. You just got to give it up for the Haas team and specifically Esteban. Who really just... We were so worried about his maturity and his attitude coming into the team this year, and he kind of just keep proving everyone wrong. Let's see if he can put together a full season. But and Ollie Bearman really could be something. He really could be something special. And those are my winners, sir. Which takes us to losers, where there's plenty of those as well.
Gasly. Absolute just disastrous weekend. Like start to finish. Got qualifying. I mean, Franco outperformed him all weekend, so
Good and ups for Franco.
And absolutely ups for Franco for that, but still, just absolute disastrous weekend for Gasly. Just all around bad weekend. Just made you, if I was him, I'd want to throw up. So, Alex Albon again is like a downward spiral starting here with Alex. I mean, he started off the season outperforming his teammate, and now it's flipped the other way, and he's just been kind of out of control. Just, I don't know what's going on. Williams has been on I know Sainz did finish, 10th today, but still, Williams is that, they had the freaking.
Only because of Lando Norris.
Yeah, only because of Lando Norris, absolutely. But, they had the whole body panel blew off during qualifying, Q1, the red flag, everything, which is complete disaster. That was a mess too. So
just
Williams
when we started praising these guys,
and they just just starts going right back.
Just when we started giving love and talking about how wrong we were about this team last year, and about their management and James Vowles, and just finally turning the ship around, and the ship's just going in circles. Turning the ship around is supposed to be 180, not 360. Okay? Write that down. You turn the ship around 180 degrees. Because 360 is a circle. It's like you're back to where you started again. Am I wrong?
No, that is correct, sir.
All right, what else you got?
That's kind of the direct. Well, those are my two. I mean, you could definitely go on.
You could go on all day. It's okay. Listen, the home race for Lance Stroll finishing dead last amongst qualified drivers. Disaster. Just a disaster. The guy wasn't even going to race. Comes out in his home Grand Prix. Enough about Lance Stroll. Another driver who is, I believe, he's the second youngest. He's the second youngest driver to podium. But of all time outside of Max Verstappen, and as we mentioned before, Kimi Antonelli third. But no love for Lance Stroll, just dead last, just terrible all weekend. I don't know if he has an injury from that punching the wall incident, as we speculated. And Yuki Tsunoda, you going to score a freaking point? You going to score a point? Like, maybe you get some sprint race bone.
He had the 10 place grid penalty for passing under a red flag.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to score a point? It's just a disaster. It's a disaster. He would have gotten the slap this week. We'll get to the slap in a moment. But just, again, I think this is the second driver this year. Ollie Behrman, I believe, was the other one to pass under a red flag earlier in the year, getting that penalty. But, yeah. Yuki, can you just stop fucking up? Like, really? Really? He was in tears in that post-race interview. It was, if you haven't checked it out, go check out the post-quali interviews with the drivers, because some of those drivers that got eliminated, especially the Yukis and the disastrous Charles Leclerc qualifying, which we didn't even talk about, because he saved his ass and finished decently today, but. Check that out, because that was full of emotion. I don't know if it was the heat. I don't know what it was, but Yuki was almost in tears. Leclerc was ready to punch somebody in the face. It was just a heck of a post-quali there yesterday. But yeah, Yuki.
You need it, baby.
You got to put together a full weekend, and you just got to put together a full weekend from practice all the way through to the end of the race, and we've yet to see it, and it's been just so disappointing, especially when Max is coming in second. Like, just the gap is ridiculous. And, Sergio Perez just looks better and better every single race. He just does. the legacy of. Really. I mean, really. We were torching him for coming in 8th and 9th last year.
Yeah. If
Right?
they would probably they would like it right now.
They would be signing up right now for 2024 Sergio Perez at Red Bull. And as we laugh about it, it's the truth. And that's all I got to say about that.
No, you're not wrong.
Oh, man. Which, of course, sir, brings us to the one part of the week where violence ensues.
I need to slap my goddamn for that.
Who you got this week?
There's only one person you give that to, and that's Lando. WTF, bro. I mean,
he kind of slapped himself. He immediately slapped himself.
Oh yeah,
when he
came
pulled
on.
Over.
Yep. No, he said it. Said it was, my fault, 100%. I'm an idiot. But damn, dude, that's why he's not going to win a world title right there. I mean,
yeah, I was thinking the same thing in qualifying. Just watching Lando this weekend and just reminiscing and thinking about, Lewis Hamilton's runs and Max Verstappen's run. I guess it's still going technically, and Schumi's run and Vettel's run and just all those runs that they had. Even Fernando Alonso for those back-to-backs, and he's still very competitive with within those seasons as well. He doesn't look like that at all. He doesn't have that attitude at all. And I think if you don't have that attitude by now, I think the Oscar Piastri thing really set him back. I think you set the standard, which he did, and then Piastri passes that standard, and Lando can't pass Piastri now. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it this season. Maybe he has to think about it in the offseason and retrain or refocus or something, but
I don't know, he's trying to make something happen today, and he was, a complete idiot. I don't know where he thought he was going.
Not the first time that's happened this season where he's gotten frustrated. And
no. Well,
he doesn't have the skills. He just doesn't have it.
He doesn't have the
that we all thought he did.
Yeah. I mean, we had this discussion a number of times at the end of last season, and
yeah, when Oscar started coming on.
Yeah. I mean, but you gotta. I mean, if you watch any of the pre-race when they, Martin Brundle was talking about, like the legends, and how they would just, like Schumacher, you were not getting by Schumacher. I mean, he wrecked Damon Hill, so Damon Hill couldn't win the world title the one year over him. Like, he straight up wrecked him. Like, I mean, Senna was very aggressive as well. The famous saying from Senna, if you're not going to go for a gap, then that's when you stop becoming a race car driver. I mean, that's pretty much dead and simple. So,
yeah, he's not one of the all-time greats at this moment.
No,
maybe he can turn it around. I don't think this is his season. Maybe the break will do him some good. Listen, this guy's one of the best drivers in the world, hands down, no argument about it. But he is just not at the level of a world champion, and he proved it again today, and we'll see what happens next race.
Oh, yes. Best damn sound of the week. Take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of Green Token, where the beer flows like wine, the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis, oh yes, it grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it. Look at it out there.
Look at it
green
out there.
and luscious. Take a little whiff. That air smells. Take a little walk to the top of the hill casino at the top. Tickets in hand. Are we cash in or are we checking out? It was a damn rough weekend again.
A little bit. Not a complete, utter, total loss, but we both threw down 200 greenie bucks, and we both got results that were slightly unfavorable. I lost 90 greenie bucks, and you lost 75 greenie bucks overall. So a little bit of a win, a little more of a loss. So pretty disappointing yet again. We're both hovering around that 4,000 greenie buck mark. We both need a big win. At one point, one of us is going to get a big weekend and just take off. And you're going to have that,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Like, Max Verstappen, I just feel like a Max Verstappen situation where he's going to go out and, like, on a sprint race weekend and win the sprint race and win the race and get the fastest lap and just clean up one weekend and just be right back in it. But if Oscar Piastri does that, that would be like, see you later. So it's that's what I need, or you need, or one of us needs and gets. But right now we're scrumming at the bottom of the pile here. I guess racing towards living out in the fields as opposed to in the penthouse. Living in the Chateau Bow Wow. So slowly crumbling.
Out here in the fields, we fight for our meals, son.
We will fight for our meals when we're both broke as we're slowly. Good thing we don't do a pre-race show and put our bets down for everyone to hear, and we just do it privately amongst our text chat. It's just us, and it's about it. So we can only share our own misery, and nobody's copycatting us and jumping on that them websites, drinking that brown water, as you say, and making bad decisions. All right.
That brown water, that clear water is just as bad too. If you get that that fiery clear water, because I like the fiery clear water too. So.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, Lily's one segment left, huh?
In the news.
In the news. All right, I'll leave the really big kahuna that I feel is the bigger kahuna second. But the first story we have for you, I only got two for you. But the second one can be like a 10-minute discussion. 20-minute discussion, to be honest. Longer, so. But anyway, under pressure, Fred Vasseur at Ferrari. It's been rumored he's got to pick it up or he's going to get canned, possibly for the man who's running the Le Mans program, who has, as of today, just won their third in a row. So that is something crazy. Both drivers for Ferrari said no. Fred Vasseur is the man to lead the team. I mean, you could just be saying that because the team tells you to say that as well. So to make sure, but there is pressure on Fred because this season has not gone how it was supposed to. And apparently internally, Lewis Hamilton said they should abandon progressing the 2025 car and concentrate now totally on the 2026 car. And apparently they may be obliging to that as well. So that is massive. It's a shit show over there in Maranello right now.
I think with Mercedes upsurge, with McLaren's just there's no one's going to beat McLaren this season. They might have some weekends like this, but these are going to be few and far between. I really feel. I just feel Montreal was not conducive to McLaren, and that's just what happened. And it's going to be not the rule, but it's going to be the exception. And I think that's what McLaren was this weekend. And absolutely. And I think Ferrari is toast. I think Ferrari really thought they threw a lot of money behind Lewis Hamilton. They threw a lot of money, not just on him, but the marketing end of it as well. And the time and all the effort behind it. It didn't work out at this moment. It doesn't look like it's going to work out in the future. It looks like Lewis Hamilton is just going to...
Well, they made a change to the car. They made a change against the whole fundamentals of the car that they've had for years. With the way the push rod thing at the front end that they had going on, and they switched it to what other teams were doing, and the car wasn't prepared for it, and they didn't do the right research for it, so the car kept bottoming out, so they can't run the car where aerodynamically the car has to be to run at its peak without destroying the plank and being disqualified. So they screwed the pooch, plain and simple. They screwed the damn pooch. And you're paying for it. That's why everybody was, this is going to be a year when they're going to challenge for, constructors titles and blah, 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 because the car was supposed to be better. Well, they screwed the pooch.
Sounds like just another lost season for Ferrari. Just rough.
Well, what else is new?
Well, obviously nothing in the
sounds
last
about
20
right.
years.
That sounds about right.
Nothing in the last 20 years. All right, what else you got?
As we teased earlier, the 2026 calendar was released. Motorsport Christmas, gone. Gone. Imola, gone. Madrid is in later in the season. Motorsport Christmas is gone, man. You can't wake up here in the States to watch Monaco in the morning, the Indianapolis 500 in the afternoon, and the Coca-Cola 600 to end your day. Under the lights in Charlotte, if you can make it that far in the, brown water and green goodness hasn't caught up to you by then.
It's always a heck of a Sunday. It's usually on my birthday or birthday weekend as well. So that's usually what I'm doing all day, watching the trifecta, or at least the first two legs for sure. I don't always catch the entire Coca-Cola 600, if much of it at all. But it's a big day. It's a big day for a lot of people. Year. And we ain't catching it ever again, because you're going to be competing. Indy 500 is going to be at the same time as the Formula One race, and that just kind of screws up the entire thing. And I don't know. I'm just kind of pissed as hell as far as the calendar goes. Having two races in Spain for a couple of years, just getting rid of Barcelona anyway is just tragic. Being in Madrid, but not in Madrid, because you're going to be outside of the city in some new track. Hopefully, it's wide enough to give some competitive racing. I guess we'll see. What's the track going to even look like next year? We'll see. Just interesting.
Well, they should be probably paving it right now.
Imola, I know you're pissed as hell. It's not even paved yet. Imola, I know you're pissed as hell about Imola.
It's one of the classic racetracks that's left on the damn calendar.
It's on and off the calendar. That's why it's on and off. It's been on and off the calendar for 75 years, and it'll be on and off the calendar for another 75 years. You chickened out.
If Montreal on Memorial Day weekend at 2 versus Indy, it starts at 1. So I don't know why. I don't know why the FIA and Formula One wants to battle. I mean, I understand a bit on why, because they want to have, they don't want to go from Miami to they don't want to go to Monaco and then back to, the States and then back over and things like that. Like, all right, I understand that, but to give all European races in a row, but still, it's just, I don't know why they're trying to go to war with IndyCar. One, I mean, it was bad enough this weekend that you had, at least Le Mans ends at 10 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast, versus the race at 2 o'clock. But
yeah,
so you can still watch the end of Le Mans. But still,
IndyCar is not competitive enough against Formula One. I don't know.
It's the Indy 500, so it just gets. It's the Indy 500. People would just watch it just because it's it's the Indianapolis 500.
It's one of those events, like when you go to a Super Bowl party or like World Cup. People just watch, don't just go to go. They don't, not particularly fans of what's going on. They're just watching. It's an event. People go to the event as well. People go to the event. All right, physically pay money to go to the event. It's something they're not that interested or invested in. They're just going because of the actual event, and that happens at all these big events. Happens at Formula One events as well.
What does Indy get? Indy gets like 400,000 for race day.
You're also pulling from. What'd you say?
Indy gets like 400,000 people there for race day.
So you're pulling from the same segment. You're pulling from the same region generally.
Right.
People who go to these have money. They travel. A lot of people, I bet, who go to the Indy 500 also go to Montreal, right? I bet a lot of people go. There's a certain type of people that go. There's only a certain amount of market here in North America of people that go to the racetracks and go to these races, because the NASCAR people, for those of you who listen around the world, especially those in Europe, many of our listeners more listeners from around the world than here in the U.S. So, NASCAR and Indy fans and Formula One fans don't always mix and cross over as much as you might think. Especially Formula One and NASCAR fans do not cross over at the rate that you might think around the world. So this is just a conflict of just major races going on in a certain region. And I think if you're doing this for financial reasons, it's a bad idea. But we'll see what happens. It could be more seats open, and it could be easier for people who've never been to the Indy 500 before because financially it's difficult. There could be more seats open. The same with Montreal. If you haven't been to a Montreal race before, there could be more seats available because you can't be in two places at once. But maybe in 2026, Elon Musk will invent something that you can. So hold your breath. What else you got, sir?
Beam me up, Scotty? Like,
I don't know.
Teleporting? Gonna be teleporting
AI's crazy,
around?
man. Self-learning machines. When the machines start building their own machines, I think that was the impetus of the Terminator. Now that I think of it. All right, listen, we want to thank everyone from around the world that listens every single week. Oh, my gosh, this week's listeners. We got Dublin in Ireland. We got London, England, Vail, Colorado. We got lots of countries and places that I cannot pronounce. We got Johannesburg, Brisbane, Queensland, Melbourne in Australia. We got Brooklyn right here in New York, Portland, Oregon, Sacramento, Newmarket, Maryland. The list goes on and on. Tbilisi, Georgia. I practiced that before the show.
Give
Fredericksburg.
Give all of them. Let's go.
Antwerp. I cannot give all of them because the show is not long enough, but thank you all for listening, and we appreciate everyone. I try every single week to get like 10 or 15 of you guys in there because we really, really do appreciate everyone's listenership, and if I have not announced your town or city, keep on listening, and maybe next time we will. Where are we going next, sir?
We got 2 weeks' time. We are going to the Alps there in Styria. Be the Austrian Grand Prix, of course.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week with a little bit of in the news. And until then, sir.
As always, we'll catch you guys next week. But as always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.